One Soccer Today for December the 5th with Wheeler, Wilson, and Platt. I am Adam Jenkins, and I have not left this couch since hosting the 2025 U Sports CPL draft presented by Degree. It is the last big event of the season. Working double time.
You did it
today,
from your couch?
Okay.
That is like the dream job, doing it from your couch. Wow.
Listen, I'm not complaining about my work environment. I'm just saying it's been a busy day, but it's an important day on the CPL schedule as 16 players heard their names called by Canadian Premier League clubs. They'll be given the opportunity to go out and audition for a spot on a CPL roster, maybe a development permit. We've seen a few players go professionally. And now Oliver Platt with the 16 picks announced. Were there any ones to you that stood out?
I think one I'll go with that I think is following a theme, excuse me, that we kind of saw as last season progressed is Javonte Lane being selected by Valor.
TMU. Come on, TMU.
TMU and Simcoe County Rovers. You know, this is a player who got that opportunity to play at, against a higher caliber opposition in the Canadian Championship. And I think we've seen, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 5 players now from CS Saint Laurent and Simcoe County Rovers who have gotten their opportunity on a CPL roster. Not obviously completely as a consequence of that, but have maybe put themselves in the shop window as a result of that. So you've got Safwan Mlar and Loic Kwemi at Valor, Jefferson Alphonse in Halifax, and Orlendis Benitez with Forge. And now Lane gets his chance with Valor as well. So clearly something that I think, teams are obviously always looking at League One and looking at those levels, but particularly when you get that opportunity to show what you can do against a higher caliber of opponent, I think that's exactly what it's about when we put these League One sides in the Canadian Championship. So really good to see another player coming through that route, getting that opportunity to make a name for themselves and then making the step up potentially to the CPL.
Well, congratulations to Javonte. Congratulations to a friend of mine, Philip Prostran, who had to deal with me being a really bad broadcaster, while the rest of you now have to deal with me being an average broadcaster. But Philip had to deal with me at the very beginning. And hey, 2024 League One Ontario, first team All-Star, forward of the year. Valor could use some bites up top. I am flattering myself. I think I deserve it. Jordan Wilson, what stood out to you, my friend?
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up my boy Matthew Pava. Look, there's been rumblings and talks about Scrisapi and the fact that I was at most a training player that showed up maybe a dozen times for the whole summer and spring. But I will say I had the privilege of seeing some young talent and young players play games. Matthew Pava goes to McMaster and plays for Scrisapi FC. This guy in the draft, I think he could be one of those defenders that have a little bit of a push this 2025. I don't want to give him too much and have people thinking that he's going to go and start for a squad. But I look at the other pathways of defenders that have come into the CPL, the Cobbsas, the Watermans. They were just given the opportunity, right? Facineri this season to really go out and express themselves and show what they can do. And I think sometimes as a defender, it's easier to break into a team as opposed to that attacking player because the pace is just a little bit different. He has something there. I'm curious to see where he ends up. But I love that he puts his head down and he has a little bit of flair to his game, but excited for the young man.
Well, the pride of Georgetown goes to the Halifax Wanderers. We teased yesterday, we finished the recording, and then the announcement of TMG was made. So now Patrice guys are starting to build something. Pava joins the likes of Meir Jaguar, Mekidesh, as well as Julian Dunn when he returns from injury. That's a pretty solid spine going on in Atlantic Canada as well. And Gareth, I know that you are a proud U Sports alum, as am I, and you, in your time with the Western Mustangs, this is a question that we generally ask you around this time of year because it's when U Sports is in the forefront. But to dial it in specifically, I'm curious for you, what would have changed with your maybe academic pursuits, your footballing pursuits, if this avenue was available to you when you were playing for the Stangs?
Probably would have spent less time in the pub and more time in the
Not
gym.
likely.
I can tell you that much. That would have the classroom. Whatever. No, we just during my day, I played with some top players that then went on and tried their hand in playing in Europe. But like the development pathway, not even Major League Soccer was available at that time. But a draft like this, where players from U Sports go directly into CPL, I mean, it's that kind of opportunity that we didn't have in terms of the showcase or that ability to make that jump at that time. I mean, I'm a dinosaur now. I don't follow the game as much, the collegiate game as much as I used to. And I used to be on top of it. Now I have a child and I don't need to tell you about my personal life, but I do know people that do. So I don't proclaim to be a Mel Kiper Jr., but a couple names that individuals who I trust who watch the U Sports game kind of tip me off on, and just to keep an eye on Nicholas Hallam from U of T going out to Pacific. It seems like Pacific every year do a nice job in terms of their draft. It might not always translate, but like Hallam's a player that I hear is held in high regard. And Adam Angoran out of Carleton is an interesting pick. I hear that he's a very interesting player, and he's going to Ottawa. So based on my sources, these are the two players that I was kind of tipped off to keep an eye on as the new season emerges.
That's right. And Goran from Ottawa South United through Carleton University. And some shouts to Nicholas Hallam, the OUA Rookie of the Year in the Eastern Conference over there. Wilson, I know I jokingly call you a traitor sometimes for playing your ball down south for your collegiate career, but there was also no U Sports available to you back then. Would you have been more tempted to circle back and maybe look for a scholarship here?
Yeah, for sure. I have to tell a quick story though. The reason why I'm a traitor,
Please do.
It was given to me. I have a sister that's a year younger than me, and my dad told me in the beginning of grade 12, you're either getting a scholarship or you're paying your own way because your sister's coming up, and I can't do both. So you're the sacrificial lamb. And I appreciate his transparency. He basically said, get out of Dodge and go play. But yeah, I got accepted into York and McMaster, but I was like, look, if I want to play soccer, I have to go to the States. That was the only real option for me at the time. But it's funny looking at it now, because if you have an opportunity, if you're in 2024 and I'm 17, I'm choosing a school as well that might give me the best collegiate experience, but then maybe also that coach to be seen, to have an opportunity to play in the CPL. And I think that's the beauty of what it is now. You're looking at maybe Wheels' time to my time to how it is now. And there's a progression, there's a step, there's a little bit of opportunity that's presented for players. Now, I say the U Sports is an exception to the rule. Not every player that goes to U Sports is going to go have a phenomenal professional career, but there's the opportunity. You don't have to think now, okay, after 4 years, I'm going to play and then I have to cry on the last game of my collegiate career because there's nothing else. There is something else. And you see the likes of like a Trevina Spree for York, who has over 30 appearances for York United, but he's still in school. And I look at him and I'm so envious. I'm like, you know what it's like to be a professional, but also a collegiate athlete. You see the Cobbses, you see Facineri, you saw Joel Waterman. Look at his career now.
No youth.
Youth sport. It's crazy to think about. Like, I'm very envious of these players that could stay in this beautiful country of Canada, but then work hard at their craft, get an education. Then you're leaving school at 21, 22, knowing that, hey, maybe I can go the professional route or I could play. The options are limitless. That's why I look at these guys when they're 19 and they're half-hearted at training. I said, you don't know how good you have it. You would have kicked me and I would have kicked you for one spot, one opportunity.
It's so true.
That we know that have talent that didn't get to play. It's heartbreaking.
When I was being recruited in the late 90s, that's what I was playing. I mean, we didn't have tape. We didn't have it was just scouts coming out to see your games and word of mouth. And I played alongside a gentleman named Ross Smith, who's now part of MLS broadcasts, had a really good career. We looked the same. We both had shaved heads, both played center back, but the same size. He was better than me. He went to Rhode Island. I had some offers to like Mickey Mouse U in the States, but Western recruited me and I was proud to go there. They just won a national championship, and that getting an education part and having that experience and having that really good athletic experience was priority for me at the time. So everyone chooses their own path. There are just so many more now, and going the U Sports route when you can stay in this country and get a really good education and solid athletic experience as well ticks all the boxes for me. So well done to all these student athletes.
And well done to the other players selected this season, and tip of the cap to the national champion UBC Thunderbirds. Gareth shouts out Eric Lajeunesse. He leaves Pacific and goes and wins another title, and a couple more T-Birds picked this year. Ontario Tech wins their first OUA title. Saint FX out east, and Montreal at Carabin in the RSEQ to round it all out. A great year for U Sports. We're excited to see who can land a CPL deal for 2025. And as always, a pleasure to host that draft. I know Gareth and Jordan have the collegiate athletic experience. I know for myself, and I'll shout out Ben Steiner as well, who went a few years behind me at TMU. It's a path for broadcasters too, and it's not just TMU; it's across the country. So U Sports, a gold mine. We love you, U Sports.
Go on, Jenko. Go on, Jenko.
Presenting this year's 2025 draft. Okay, I got a little bit ahead of myself earlier in the program when I mentioned TMG and the actual move after Just Joshing's Josh Healy put out the report that he was going to sign. The Wanderers made it official. I'm going to try to make it stick for Wheels. No promises that it will. But it got us thinking because it's a big move. It is a big move for TMG to swap coast. I think he's going to fit in excellently in Wanderers blue. But the next part of the show has a two-pronged approach to it. First of all, I'm going to ask the boys what they think is a move that makes sense to them, a good fit. And then I maybe like to stir the pot a little bit and just ask for a move that they'd like to see because it would either be hilarious, because it would be dramatic or controversial. But let's start with the not-so-fantasy land and go to you, Oliver Platt, first. What is a CPL move that just makes sense to you this offseason?
Well, one of the big fish in terms of free agency, I think, is obviously the Players Player of the Year, Brian Wright, and whether he'll be back or not at York United. And would it not make a little bit of sense, or could there potentially be a fit there for him to just move down the road to Forge? That's a club, obviously, that's in need of a reliable number 9. I know the year didn't end the way Wright would have wanted it to, but for the bulk of the season, he was a real handful at centre forwards and really difficult to deal with, I think, as demonstrated by his peers giving him that recognition at the end of the season. So that one would seem like there's maybe a little bit of logic between both sides to me, but Forge sometimes don't always go out and do the obvious thing. So we'll see.
Jordan Wilson.
I thought long and hard about this, and I
don't doubt it.
For me, you know why I thought long and hard? Because
30 seconds. How long's long and hard for you?
Honestly, it was 90. But I tried to find someone that it wasn't tied to York. But again, I ended up there. I think a perfect move for this club and this player is Rocco Romeo back to York United. Sorry, back home in Toronto, but playing for York United. The 6'5", 24-year-old center back has proven that he could do a shift and lead a back line. I think with Frank Stirring maybe not having a contract, or Botnay maybe going on to greener pastures or leaving, it's a void in their back line. And I think bigger than that for York United, I understand the Mexican connection and bringing in certain players, but you have to have some homegrown talent, players that grew up in Toronto, players that are very close, family that will come and see that said player play. If they can do that and bring 3, 4, 5 of those players, that's a stronger group coming in. I think Rocco would fit perfectly with York United and their upcoming push for the season. Gareth Wheeler.
There's no way that one team should be so loaded at goalkeeper to the point where one of them doesn't play. And that's the situation with Atletico Ottawa right now. Nate Ingham, Ryan Yesley, both starting goalkeeping quality in the Canadian Premier League. There's no doubt about that. So I'll give Ryan Yesley a new home in Halifax because they need a goalkeeper. Needed one last season, in fairness, as well. But he's good enough.
Well, Gareth, I'm sorry to do it, but I have to hop in because it seems as though we've lost your audio, and just wanted to make sure that I wasn't the only one in that situation. I'll give you a moment to
Bro, I switched my AirPods. I was like,
real panic.
It's okay. No. So we have identified the source. I like where Gareth is going with that, and Oliver Platt, as we see Wheels doing his best mime impression for the interim in the corner. Maybe you can have an assist here. What do you think? Ryan Yesley to Halifax. I think Gareth was onto something with the Wanderers. You could use a goalkeeper.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think, like you said, there's a finite pool of goalkeepers, obviously, in terms of domestic options, at least in Canada right now. And for one of the quality of Ryan Yesley to be kind of in a backup position doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I would imagine he's a player who, wants to play more, probably went to Atletico Ottawa aiming to be the starting goalkeeper, but we know how reliable Nathan Ingham has been for them.
Yes.
So yeah, that one is logical, particularly obviously with the Anphillian vacating that position in Halifax.
Can I just mention that I've heard through the grapevine that there's a potential a move for Halifax Wanderers with said player and said club, and so you guys are on point, right, with those. I feel like mine's the only one that's maybe not talked about right now, but I think the York United and Pasquale brothers need to listen to the Rocco Romeo show. They'll do a shift for you guys.
Oh, insider here.
There we go. We know that Jordan just texted Josh Healy because that's what we're all going for.
No, it wasn't from Josh. I'm not gonna, you know why? Because Josh's success rate is so high. I don't want to bring that down if it doesn't work out at all.
That's true. That's true. Okay, Gareth Wheeler has returned to the program.
Testing.
He's back in sounding better than ever, which means he's right on time. Ollie, finished your thought on Ryan Yesley to the Halifax Wanderers, and Jordan Wilson
did a great job,
gasoline to that flame. So, Gareth, since you're back, let's have you begin the next question. The chaotic, chaotic transfer in the CPL.
Oh God, no!
Don't come to me. I look at a team in Atletico Ottawa that needs, some quality in wide areas just to diversify their attack. What about Chouanier to Ottawa? Gets back closer to La Belle Province, is a player that could, I think, give this team a different profile. We'll see what the new manager wants to do, but that's the type of move that I think would rock the boat a little bit, get a Forge for lifer, take him off that team, put him on another team where maybe his role is even bigger and more expanded. So we'll see. I mean, that'd be an intriguing move for me.
Jordo, keep that boat rocking.
I don't know if this is so much of a rock, but maybe it's something that I could see happening going into 2025 season.
So not the question at all. Good.
Yeah, you know me. I always like to go a bit rogue. Tell me the player that came onto Calgary this season that everyone's talking about. I know Wheels loved him, but did an excellent shift. Short little guy, but shifty. Herdman. Both those teams in Vancouver and Pacific need someone to be shifty and to run at guys and to go and take it to them. I don't even know if Cavs, they needed him towards the end of the season, but Vancouver or Pacific would need that player more. And Jay Herdman. Sign the brother. He's been doing bits. You saw what he did at the end. Both of those teams, Pacific and Vancouver, with all due respect, the last 7 games of the season I watched like this. No excitement. No one was taking on players. No one's expressing himself. You saw that man do that for Calgary. Bring him up back to the west side or the western side, and then go play for either Pacific or Vancouver.
Front three of Herdman, Zanata, Hurd, and Herdman. Like it.
You like it?
You might be onto something. Yeah. Oliver Platt.
Okay, I'm gonna go similar to Wheels and kick someone off Forge. Like, I don't think this is gonna happen. But wouldn't you like to see Noah Jensen just say, you know what, I'm not gonna wait for Kyle Becker to retire and play till he's 39 or however long he's gonna play in this league as he continues to be one of the best players in the CPL. I'm going to go somewhere else and be the main man, because I think this player has that kind of ability. For any other team in the league, he's playing every week. He's a midfielder who can get you a decent number of goals and assists. He's got an eye for the spectacular, as we're seeing here. What if Noah Jensen was to say, I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to go and be a key player somewhere else and play against Forge.
Where's he going to go? Where are you sending him?
Because I'm wondering if you're saying the same club I'm thinking. Who you
Sorry?
What club do you think, though?
I hadn't thought of that.
I think he would
anywhere.
I think he would thrive in Halifax. I think he would
like
thrive
Halifax,
there. 100%.
like Ottawa.
Yep.
Jordan wants the Wanderers to do the Atletico Ottawa offseason strategy and sign everybody. And I personally would be here for it. I was going to say Tristan Borges to Pacific because it would be hilarious because he is the player of the year and he obviously won't be moving across the CPL. Speaking of CPL lifers, at least as far as I know, but for the same reason that Jordan outlines Herdman to Pacific, I think Borges anywhere would be a splash, but it could make Pacific quite fun and do the reverse Taron Campbell. It's just a trade 5 years apart. I'll even throw Massimo Farron into that mix to add to Jordan's thoughts of a Herdman-like player to British Columbia. Those would be the chaotic ones that I personally would like to see.
Let's go BC. Come on, BC.
Lastly, in the Canadian Premier League, we're going to ask the question, staying in the idea of transfers and signings because it is the offseason. The biggest signing, I think, arguably or inarguably of the season was Tobias Varshevsky landing in Cavalry, the end of the season, what he did in the CPL final, the CPL final MVP as well. The best signing of the season, but Gareth Wheeler, was Toby the biggest offseason signing in CPL history for the impact he had on his club?
I don't know if you can say that. I mean, he was clutch down the stretch of the season, the biggest in history. That's a big claim because there's players that have made moves that have been influential over time, like Alessandro Hajabrapor going to Forge. Like, it's really taken his career and to another level. And Forge went on from losing a cup final with Hajabrapor on the team to go on to win them. So that's one guy that comes to mind. So I can't make that a blanket statement. Outstanding, but I just can't make him the top signing of all time.
He's the top, most influential. He is.
Wow.
He is. Has to be.
He's got a case.
Rags to riches. He didn't even play football last year, and he brought them to the chip this year. Rags to riches.
Remarkable story. And the boat is appropriately rocked in the Canadian Premier League. And with that, we move along to today's Visa Women's Football Report. Presented by Visa, today's Women's Football Report. The theme of coaches has been scattered across our programming this week for the Canadian Women's National Team, for MLS clubs, for CPL clubs. So we figured, what the heck? Let's stay with the coaches and give some love to a proud Canadian who has moved to represent and lead a nation that is very near and dear to her heart. I mean, her name is Rian, for goodness sakes. She is Welsh to the core, and she has led Wales to their first ever major European championship, or even major championship in general, as the Welsh defeated the Republic of Ireland by 2-1. Incredible scenes to see the Red Dragons doing their thing, but getting a bit of that taste of the Welsh Euro 2016 story and how exciting that had been. And for Rian, of course, she was a very popular person after the match. They were asking Coach Wilkinson about her connection to Wales and about the group, and she was full of praise for her assistant coaches, but also for the nation, and made it seem as though she doesn't want to leave Cardiff anytime soon. But because this is a Canadian show, we'll give some love to the Canadian coach, but we'll ask the question that I think a lot of people have been wondering, certainly even before the defeat of Ireland. Is Rian Wilkinson a good fit for the Canadian women's national team vacancy? And how about we get to that after we spend some time applauding the accomplishment of this big win for Rian Wilkinson in Wales? And I'll ask the Englishman on the show. That's an interesting choice in the rundown. But let's go to you, Oliver Platt, on what she was able to accomplish in Dublin.
Yeah, really cool. I think it's always one of the most special moments in football period, to be honest, when a country qualifies for a major tournament for the first time. Like it's always just really, really cool to witness, I think. And obviously no different here for Wales's women going to a major tournament. They were really close to the last World Cup. They conceded in the 121st minute in the playoffs in that instance. They came really close there, got over the line this time. Credit to Rian Wilkinson, who I think instilled what is, really a very young coaching career still in terms of being a head coach, already has an NWSL title and qualifying a country to a tournament for the first time in their history. Not bad for your start in management.
Gareth, come on, give me some Wales love.
What am I supposed to answer here? I was really confused by the question that was asked. Look, Wales qualifying for the Euros was a big story in the UK. It was all over Sky Sports. Like, Wales drew like a record-setting crowd, I believe, for the game where they went on and punched their ticket. So it's created all kinds of buzz. If I'm Rian, I'm not leaving. I'm having that, tournament experience with Wales. I think that will go a long way for her coaching career. If things line up with Canada in the future, then so be it. Like I said on yesterday's show, we don't know what Canada's priority is in terms of what they're looking for in a new manager, in a new head coach. There's no director of football. There's no one to turn to say, hey, we're going to play this way moving forward. So she may be a fit. She's building up quite the resume, although things didn't end great in Portland, did they? But, I mean, does Canada want someone that's familiar with the program? Do they want a Canadian? Do they want an outsider? I'm just not sure if there's a fit. As of right now, she's in a great place. Go on, Wales. And congratulations to her and that group.
Echoing the sentiment, our Visa Women's Football Report today. Up the Wales. Come on, Wales. Come on, Rian Wilkinson. That was exciting to see, and love to see the images coming in from Cardiff. Moving on to a holiday special here. It's a segment that we love to do. It's called Yellow Card, Red Card. It's holiday edition. It's very simple. You can take anything related to the theme. Today, of course, the holidays. Give one a yellow card and give another one a red card. Let's go to Jordan Wilson first. Your holiday caution.
Caution, I'm going to give the yellow card to grandparents, people giving gifts to kids, young kids specifically, in a gift bag. Wrap that mother trucker. Wrap it. Wrap it, please. Wrap it.
What's wrong with the gift bag?
No, the kids don't enjoy it. They just lift up the little piece and then they're like, oh, what is this? And like, oh, is this... Like, they need a gift, even if you put it in a shoebox.
They're older, Jordan. It's a little easier.
No, wrap it so they can open it.
Wrapping's hard, man.
It doesn't have to be elegant, but wrap it, please. Because they look at this bag like, what is this? Like, what's going on here?
My grandmother taped gifts. So it was unbelievable, her taping technique. I'm going to tell you that. It would take work to get to that gift.
But please put it in a box, something that they could open.
In a box.
Okay. Jordan's going to send this clip to his family when it's posted online. Oliver Platt, your yellow card.
My yellow card is to work Secret Santas, which I think everyone on this show can remember what happened at the One Soccer Christmas party last year, which to me was one of the most disgraceful moments in the history of the company. As we all sat there for like half an hour while people repeatedly stole other people's gifts, leading me in the end to pick like the least desirable gift. I won't name it because I don't want to hurt the feelings of the person who brought it, but one of the least desirable gifts available, just so I would stop getting picked on and could sit and enjoy my drinks and food at this Christmas party. So I'm out on work Secret Santas. One hasn't been mentioned for us this year, which I think is absolutely the right decision after the horror show of 2023.
Take someone else's gift.
Jacob, thanks for reminding me that we needed to do Secret Santa in the parking lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was going to throw Jordan under the bus and say, we got there. I asked what he brought to the Secret Santa. He said, there's a Secret Santa, went to the back of his car and wrapped something because he totally forgot. Wheels, let's go to you.
So Ollie got Jordan's gift. Interesting. It is delivery season. It is delivery season. And because of the Canada Post strike, man, it's mayhem out there. Every city across this country has this delivery bikes on the road. They are insane. It's not the trucks, it's the bikes. It's like the modern version of Mad Max Fury Road. These people just go so fast, so quickly, so dangerous. They don't care if you're a cyclist, a pedestrian, a driver. They're just coming through. Get out of my way. They are absolutely dangerous to everyone. They deserve a yellow. Let's give them a red even. Just slow down. Stop driving so fast.
Gareth upgrades it to a red. How about you, Oliver Platt? You're sending off.
My red is building temperature control during winter. Like we all, it gets cold outside. I've had this problem in Canada ever since I moved here. It gets cold outside, so we all wrap up with our big parkas and hats and gloves. And then you go inside, like on transit or in a shopping mall or whatever, and they jacked the heat up. And so like you're completely like inappropriately dressed to then be indoors because you've got to dress for the cold outdoors. Just like a moderate, mild temperature is fine. We do not need the heat on everywhere we go when we're already dressed for winter.
That might be your best take. Jordan Wilson.
That's a big one. I have to steal producer Kyle's one for sure. Dried turkeys at Christmas. Can't do it anymore, man. I can't. We already have it at Thanksgiving. Put ham, put anything else, put chicken. I don't care. But that dried turkey on the 25th of December needs to go, man. I can't do it anymore.
I'll be quick. The ultimate red card, I do this every year. It's the worst Christmas song on record. Simply having a wonderful Christmas song.
Yeah, I was going to say, we should probably pause that after 5 seconds.
There's nothing wonderful about this. Paul McCartney, musical genius. This is torture. It's torment. It is the absolute worst Christmas song. Bin it. Get rid of it. Let's retire that waste of song. It drives me absolutely bananas.
Correct.
Copyright infringement avoided. To Tony Bet Top Picks. Tony Bet Top Picks for this Thursday, December the 5th. Oliver Platt, Everton, heavy underdogs. A big game against Liverpool that they hope 6-20.
Liverpool they blew it in midweek, but I don't see them having too many issues with Everton, so I'll take Liverpool.
Liverpool match yesterday was something to behold.
It's going to be fun. Hold on. It's a last visit for a Merseyside derby to Goodison Park. I like the under. I like Everton on the handicap.
All right, you got to see that one. Jordan Wilson at Atalanta -108 and Christian Pulisic's AC Milan at +290.
Captain America and company are taking this one, and I'm going to say 2-0.
Especially with some plus money.
Do you see that he has a documentary? There's nothing I want to watch less than a Christian. I'd rather watch Hallmark Channel Christmas movies all day long than that. Go with Atalanta, win outright. They're studs, second in Serie A. They're really, really good.
All right, our program One Soccer Today for this evening. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow for one more to wrap up the week with the boys. We'll see you then.